So I want to start off by first just introducing yourself. Please tell us your name again and how you are involved in this creative ecosystem of public art.
Yeah, I'm Kevin Winkler. I'm founder of Blockhouse Studios and kind of the Chief Innovation Officer. And we really specialize in like large-scale digital installations. We did the T-Mobile building and then by the district tap. So those two large-scale digital installations, we did all the cinematography on that, and as well as all of the physical installation of the projectors and the alignment. So yeah, that's really what we kind of did for this one.
My name is Alex Nichols. I am the 3D artist at Blockhouse Studios. I mainly deal with 3D art, animation, stuff like that. So the buildings that need modeled before we project on them and things like that. So.
Hi, my name is Fee. I'm an interdisciplinary artist on the behalf of Purpose Projects, and a lot of our work focuses on people and spaces and how we can make it special for you guys. So
yeah, tell us a little bit about the creative process. What does it take to go through the ideation and the creation, the execution, and then the thing we don't like to talk about, the tear down, the deinstallation, the end? What does that process look like for you? Kevin, do you want to expand on your experience a little bit?
Yeah, so for us, we're a little bit of an oddball in the industry. Usually there's this hard separation between kind of the hardware integrator or like live show pro installation, because our projection mapping requires many large projectors, industrial power, all of these things. So the people that do that and the content creators are generally two separate companies. But when we really started getting into this, that was something that we decided that needed to marry those two things. So we do both the hardware and the content production, and it's the marriage of those two things that really make our installations look and at the quality level that our stuff is at. So there's a lot to the setup and tear down, and that's something that we've spent a ton of time really working to refine that process and increase the deployability of these, the reliability of them, because there's a ton of parts. We might have 16 20,000 lumen projectors on truss stands, and I mean, it's multiple trailers worth of stuff. Plus we're doing everything that a super high-end video production crew would do. We're doing the scripting, the costume design, we hire dancers, performers, fire spinners. We've employed all of those things, and we're organizing all of that and scheduling it. And then we're also doing the post-production, which requires rotoscoping and really high-end compositing. And then to top it off at really high resolutions, like 15,000 pixels by 2,600 pixels. So for video people, that's a lot. And so getting all of that done it's a task. And we've been able to really build workflows that make that doable. Teardown's obviously a beast as well, but we have an amazing crew for that. And we really are passionate about hiring local with all of the people from production side to our live event side. And yeah, we've just really refined that over the years and gotten that to where these shows are deployable and reliable. So
yeah, that's amazing. And being able to innovate and improve your process as you go, it sounds like is across the board something that you're all doing and experiencing in your crafts. And you're telling me in the back that you actually filmed those basketballs falling. That's not like, can you talk about that a little bit? What does that do for the product, for the final view?
Yeah, this is something that's really deep in our DNA too. Usually show pro companies will have maybe an AV guy, but for us, we started with a cinematography background. We have, many decades of experience under our belt doing cinematography and music videos, and we did a lot of stop motion, and all of those things require a lot of advanced techniques. So in all of our projects, we really try to do practical effects. So for example, like she mentioned, the basketballs, those are real basketballs that we spin and film in 8K on Red V-Raptors and high frame rate. And then the building part of that is 3D. So we do photogrammetry, build the models. Alex could talk a little bit about that. And it's that like marriage of the practical effects with the 3D effects that create things that aren't that uncanny valley 3D thing. They're surreal. They have this aspect to them that feels different, and audiences can't always articulate it, but it leaves them standing there staring at our buildings several times over. They want to watch it again and again to try to wrap their head around. They're not sure how it was done. And that's that magic trick, that sleight of hand that we're really trying to do. So I don't know if you have anything a little bit to add on
Yeah,
the
please.
3D side, but
Yeah, so I mean, we have like a few thousand photos to scan the actual building, and then you take that and then you clean it up, like meticulously model the buildings. That way you can actually put a show on top of it. But yeah, working with the actual building and the architecture is really important to the show. Like it almost sometimes gives you what it wants, you know, like what it demands the building of. It's Art Deco or whatever, so you can really work with it.
And emphasize that building and we want to embrace that architecture of the building. We don't just want to plaster random content on a building. We want to emphasize the hard work that architect did on that building and the history of that building. If it's a performing arts center, we want to work with performing arts artists and put them up there. Or if the building has gold Art Deco, we want to draw attention to that and lift it up, make it more noticeable so people catch these beautiful buildings that are in our communities. They walk past every day and they didn't even notice the awesome gold at the top, you know? And I think I've had several people already oh my gosh, I didn't even know the building had that on it. And that's what I want. I want that to excite people and show them that when they're walking out during the day and our show isn't on it, they are oh wow, you know, I appreciate that building now more than I did, because these are the spaces that impact us every day. So, yeah.
Is your work constantly changing?
Yes, our work is always changing. I mean, that's the thing is you know, every building that we do is different. We got to build a completely different design template. Maybe the texture of the building is different or the colors, and that changes what we have to make. So, and then on top of that, the technology is always changing too. So there's a lot of variables in what we do, and it's something that's tough to keep up with, you know, but we've been able to really build a process and a flow and a team that has, you know, our team has every kind of problem solving component, from the physical to the digital to the, you know, digital to physical. We built a project recently that we had to do a bunch of resin 3D printing. And that was one of those things that we had to you know, I was sitting in there looking for the milk crate, you know, it was hard. Alex really had to push on that one to make it work. And it was, you know, there's those problem solving components with that change, but we're always trying to innovate, and there's a danger in that, because sometimes you have an idea like this resin printing where we're trying to use the newest tool and it's still running beta software, and but we always live on that edge. Quite often we're running brand new beta software, or we just finished developing a Vision Pro app, you know, for the Apple Vision Pro, which is a weird thing to do. But for us, being able to integrate that new technology for our clients, because when we are selling a giant building, a permanent install, that's really hard to visualize to a board. So them seeing that at scale in a VR headset, we can use those in our, not just for the clients, but for the development. We can just grab a headset, select computer on the network, and boom, we're able to see right off of our After Effects timeline into the headset. So for a small business to develop something like that, it's kind of unheard of. And go into a meeting and be able to put a headset on a client and then see that at scale. A lot of those kind of clients have never been in VR before. So to do that, it's a good way to communicate that, and that diminishes the amount of revisions and changes. Because when you're re-rendering a 15,000 pixel comp, one change could be a deal break. It could be really difficult. So try to mitigate that as much as possible, and we've worked on our workflows to be able to, you know, allow our designers, I have one of our designers out here, Amelia, she'll work in Procreate, but she'll be drawing on the actual design file so that we can see it in VR, right off of our animatics and sketches from, you know, week one of our design process, so that we can communicate that to the client. So yeah, it changes all the time, and I'm always looking at the newest thing and trying to get my hands on it. And I mean, not just any new thing, but that's kind of one of my strengths is choose which technologies we're going to combine and how, just like those basketballs practically filmed 3D. And that's a really important part of this. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that agility, that ability to change and shift directions or change your vision based on the circumstances, I think that's something that creatives all inherently have to have, because we're just trying to do stuff. Yeah. You know, and it's challenging, and it's inspiring. All of you inspire me, so thank you for continuing to make that work happen, because I think it makes the world a better place. Thinking about the world being a better place, how do you see like social media having an impact on the work that you do? There's like virality and like things going viral and people taking selfies, and does that impact how you design? Are you thinking about it being in photos?
Well, I mean, it's a large, most of the things we do are very large, so I think from the start they're usually pretty viral. You know, they have the capability to have that. But I think at the end of the day, like we were saying, the building has a thing it wants to be for the most part, and we make something for it that makes us excited, and I think that is what produces the best result at the end of the day, and the most shareable thing.
Yeah,
so.
We want to make things that gets us excited first and foremost. I mean, of course we take our clients' input and try to incorporate those things in our shows. We always are able to, and then maybe a small idea that we grow into a big idea. And so we take feedback, you know, our clients on things, but we want to make things that get us excited. We want to work with the gear that gets us excited. I want to give our, you know, guy making the videos that you see on our social media, Einstein, he's out there somewhere. I want to give him the best cameras and the best tools to do his stuff, and Alex get the best GPU to render all those frames, and or the best iPad. Getting those tools to my crew to be able to use, and then making design files that allow, like, that's a thing with what we do, is it's not stuck in 3D animation land. Like, we're building templates that not only allow us to work in a practical world, but other artists. We could work with somebody who's maybe working with textiles, or who's a baker. We talked about one time making a gingerbread house and physically baking, making it printing out a giant template, and actually physically making that, and then filming that, and then putting that on the building. That's the kind of stuff where we want to work with other artists, and we've worked on building this pipeline for these building designs so that we can make the things we want, how we want to make them, and incorporate other artists and get their work on that. So yeah, I mean, that's important to us.
And that's another beautiful thing. You all work with local artists. You all
Yes.
enhance the community that you're in, which is beautiful. I do want to leave some time to ask some questions. So does anybody have a question?
What inspires y'all?
So for the T-Mobile building with the basketballs, looking at that building first, we noticed the big open spaces, and it's like, well, we could throw basketballs in there, right? And then for the colors, like looking around all the art here, kind of putting that in that as well. So trying to have it all work together. And as the building, we have all the gold trim around the building. You can see like all the windows and stuff like that. So we wanted to make sure that was in there in some form too. So,
and maybe more generally, like, I mean, I try to curate the social medias that I'm on, and I have a pretty heavy feed. Like, my YouTube subscription is not the paid subscription. My subscribed channels is important to me. I watch that a lot. Like, I make sure it's people who are making things. That's what gets me excited. I don't care if you're making a table. Like, I might get really excited about that because, like, just anyone who's making things passionately, who's like obsessed with it, his hobby's trains, and he loves it. And I went to train shows with him because he's so excited about it. He's drug all of us. He tries to indoctrinate us, and that
I was excited about trains.
Yeah.
In the back.
And that gets me excited. So anyone who is truly passionate about what they do, and that's why I have the crew I have. We got 7 people full time, and I'm on stage. I don't want to get emotional in front of everybody, but I cannot talk about them without it, because like every single person is so passionate. And I made a post this week that showed our projector stands over on the District Tap building, and I said, that's art to me, because my guy laid the cables perfect and drilled a new hole in our trailer so it plugs in. You know, that just as artistic as the things that we put on the building. And like, that stuff's amazing, but anyone who's passionate about it, subscribe to them, follow them, look at how they're doing it, how they organize their tools. You know, that gets me excited. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and that's all art to me.
Yeah, and I would pretty much agree with that. I think, you know, as an artist and as creatives, like you didn't really know where you fit in at, you know what I mean? And I think I took the longest trying to understand what I was as an artist, or what that even meant to be an artist. And there's a lot of stigmas and labels that will get put on you, especially as creatives. And I don't like even trying to find a word, because they said, what word do you want to be, or whatever. And I'm like, you know what I mean? I did interdisciplinary because I see that art is in all pathways. And my opportunity to be a creative has been a journey because of the people I've been impacted by and the relationships that I built through that. Like that connection, when I talk about that, it's really because I've made it very intentional, and I've done a lot of things. People know me from different stuff. Like I'm not just one thing. Installation art is just the most evolved space I've been in thus far. But there's a lot of things that I do. So some people will just be like, yeah, I know Fee, she used to do fashion shows, or, you know, I know Fee because she styled me, or I know Fee because she built the backdrop, or I know Fee because she curated Featured Friends at a gallery. It's so many things. And you know, but people and the relationships that you build, those are the most amazing inspirations. Like those long stories that when I like meet people now and I introduce somebody and then I look over to them and I'm like, so how did we meet? And it's just such a long story every time. And I'm just thankful for my community, the people who are here. I got tons of lovely, beautiful people out here today support me. I love y'all so much. And I did like a massive text being like, please be here. And they all showed up for me. So I'm not gonna cry, but it's just, this is what it is. Like, this is why these things happen. That's why you get a space like Butter, just because there's so much intentionality on wanting to share space with people and continue to grow with them and to be inspired constantly. Like, as an artist, I know that I have to be inspired in order to create. Like that, when people try to tell you like, okay, you need something to do, go do that. And it's like, I need to be inspired. So if I don't have inspiration around me, like it's probably gonna take me a longer journey to get to the creation part. So yeah, it's definitely y'all. So I love y'all so much. Thank you.
Yeah, we all wear a lot of hats. Like we always joke about the hat stack at the studio. So we all got a bunch of them, and there's a lot of titles for all that stuff, but we're all makers.
Yeah.
We all make, and like we all complete things. So it's like, start making something, but finish it. You know, see it through. And that's what I see, you know, you talking about. It's like this, you know, you're making things, you're finishing it, and you're using those things to bring people together. Like, it doesn't matter what you're making, just make.
Yeah.
And like, if you got to start with something small, make it, finish it, see it through, and move on to the next thing,
Yeah.
you know? And that's
the work. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing this space with me. Can we just give a round of applause for these amazing creators? And for Butter, for giving us a platform to talk about the things that we love and the things that we care about and the people we love. They got in there too. So thank you so much. And please enjoy, look at the art, take pictures, have fun. I think we'll be around, so if you have more questions.
Make sure you talk to these folks. One more time for our public art panel.